we are pleased to welcome in NHL Network studio host Kevin Weekes. Weekesy, thanks so much for joining us again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, as always. Thank you.
Weekesy looking great for a man that's getting no sleep. I see you on the network all the time doing a great job.
Thank you. Back at you.
I was going to say, do you want to share some secrets?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It's Caribbean blood. I think that's probably what it is. I think it's the genes. It's the gene pool.
My mom sent me some rice and peas, so we're good.
Weekesy, yesterday, Anson introduced the NHL's Executive Inclusion Council. Some of these committees will be rolled out over the next couple of days, so we're trying to make an effort to really talk about each committee each day. So, Ace, yesterday we dove a little bit deeper into the Player Inclusion Committee. Which committee do you want to talk about more today and expand upon?
We could talk about the PIC, the Player Inclusion Committee. Weeksy's on that as well, too. And just wanted to talk a little bit about the impact of that. You know, it's not just about just women, and not just about men. It's men and women. And we have all different races involved. It's not just black people or people of color. We've got Drew Jarkera, Scotty Gomez, Weekesy, Julie Chu, Megan Duggan. And I think that's important because when we're trying to grow the game of hockey, and Weekesy, you know this too, being on the television all the time on NHL Network, it isn't just about bringing in one color fan. It's about diversifying the game.
Yeah, 100%. You're spot on with that. I think, you know, I use this analogy, like you can go down to the beach and you can have one fishing rod with one lure, one piece of bait trying to catch one piece of fish, one type of fish, if you will. Or you can go out there like you're on the deadliest catch with a huge boat and you can get lobster, you can get scallop, you can get shrimp, you can get tuna, you can get mackerel. And really that's what you're doing. You're expanding your pool. And by expanding your pool of representation and fan base, you then will expand that pool of your player base as well, which then makes you a lot more in demand to more people, which ultimately then drives even more revenue. Adds to your point, which makes so much sense. So whether you're an owner, whether you are a coach, a player, everybody benefits, or even a corporate partner of the league or the governing bodies, everybody benefits by expanding the appeal of our sport. And you also have to make sure that it's inclusive for as many people as possible for that to be the case. So there's nothing but upside here. It's the right thing to do for people. It's the right thing to do for business.
Well, you said it too. It's the right thing to do, right? I mean, I speak to guys in terms of dollars and cents because that's what guys will understand. Mm-hmm. But you're right. That nails it. Like, it's just the right thing to do. Making the game more diverse, I think, will improve the quality of the game across the board because years ago, we never had the European influence the game of hockey. It was all straight line, knuckle-headed, hard hockey. But then you brought the Russians in, a little more patience, circle back. You brought the Swedes in, more skill, more finesse. And now we've got a beautiful game. So I think you can have the same impact with more diverse players playing with the game at the highest level.
No question. I mean, if you look at, I always look at what the late Commissioner Stern did for the NBA and understanding that the players were the product and trying to find a way to maximize that connection point with the fans and the viewers and the public across all sectors. And then obviously they really highlighted their talent and their stars. And Larry Bird didn't look like Magic. Magic didn't look like Shaq. Shaq didn't look like the late Kobe. Kobe didn't look like Jordan. And I mean, we can go on, but especially expansion into Europe. You look at what they did in '92 with the Dream Team in Barcelona at the Olympics. And that really just kind of flourished and really put a focus and emphasis on your international game and also the women's game. I mean, you can go on, but the NBA never looked back. To me, they were the leader in pro sports in North America where that's concerned. Deputy commissioner at the time, but now commissioner and Adam Silver has done an amazing job of that too. So I think for our sport, you know, Gary's the longest tenured commissioner in all of pro sports right now. We're starting to make some more inroads. We have a long way to go. We're on a path right now. And I think that we have at least a few more actionable items, but we need to have more as we continue to chart that course forward.
And Michelle, quickly too, I just want to bring up a quick story. So Kevin Brownie, one of our producers at NBC Sports, he's producing the World Feed up in Toronto. And Brownie told me a great story. He's also my producer with Hockey Culture that we have. And he said, you know what, Ace? Hunter Ryan Singh, who Michelle knows, a great fan of the show here around the NHL, and Weekesy, you know, Hockey Night in Canada, Punjabi. He came on the television on the massive screen there outside of Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, the big sports bar. And Brownie was eating I think it was fish and chips or something. And Hunter Ryan Singh came on the television. And he said to his right, there were two South Asian guys. They looked at each other and gave themselves a high five. And Brownie said, you know what? That's why hockey culture is important. No one else around the room recognized that and realized that, but it's about representation. Here are these two South Asian guys seeing someone that looked like them on the television talking about hockey, which they're passionate about too, high-fiving each other and being so proud to see that person that looked like them on television. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely.
100%, man.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why one thing I think that the Player Inclusion Committee is so important, the fact that it is diverse, that there are women on this panel as well, there's men on this panel as well. You, just like when we had Catherine Tappan on the show, like to see someone in a role that you want to one day be in, it allows you to, it kind of helps you, maybe not allows you, but it helps you dream it and visualize it. You can see it, it makes sense. But if you don't have that representation, you never even know that that's a possibility. So you have to get there to where you see that consistently and think, okay, wow, that person did it. So maybe I have a chance out. I can do it too if I put in the work as well. So I think that this committee is incredible. And it's one of the many committees, Ace, that you're going to continue to roll out with us throughout the week. So this is a great way to kick it off.
It really is. And it's all about having these conversations. Like Weekes and I, we go way back to elementary school playing minor hockey together in Toronto. And he played junior, I went to college. We end up, meeting in the National Hockey League, but we both had similar experiences. And it's important to have these conversations and not like the bickering, the infighting, and, the back and forth, because it takes more than just one or two people to really drive change in this business. It could take 1,000 people. It's going to take millions of people. And it's not just hockey. It's also society too, because racism exists. And anyone says it doesn't exist, they got their head in the sand. But we have to do this collectively as a group. And the power of people is a really strong thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, I echo Barry Trotz, who you played for earlier in your pro career in Portland in the AHL, and he's one of the best coaches in pro sports, let alone in our league. And you look at how, obviously, what he did with Washington took them to where they could never get to really prior to him, even, although they got to that cup final in '97, but that was a different group. But that being said, Barry Trotz always says, and I'm quoting him now, if you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to go somewhere far, you got to go as a group. And that's something that he echoed to the Caps prior to them winning. It's something that he's echoed to the Islanders. We now know where they are now and what they've been able to accomplish to this point. And I couldn't agree with that more. And the same thing to me comes back to people at the end of the day. If you want to be, a solo group and you say, hey, we're just this one demographic of people and this is all we want to do, that's fine. That really doesn't represent the United States, though, properly. Because then there's an omission of so many different people that have done so many great things and are doing so many different things. So if you're not Russian American, that means you don't respect what Elon Musk has done with Tesla, or you don't respect what he's done with SpaceX, or you don't respect what Jeff Bezos has done with Amazon. I mean, we can go on and on. Beyonce. I mean, there's so many different people across different walks of life that do well. And that's part of the collective strength that make the United States what it is. But that's one thing in the corporate side. It comes down to people. It's the same thing, though, on the sports side and the hockey side. So for us, our strength is about our bandwidth, and that's what it's going to be going forward. We can't just pick and choose selectively who we like, who we don't, why we do, why we don't, why this group of people or this gender should be able to get these opportunities, the other one shouldn't. We don't have enough collective strength and bandwidth if we do it that way. So I just think I echo what you're both saying. And these conversations are paramount, and we can't we can't falsely rewrite history either, and or current events. That's one of the things about sports. I can tell you there's numerous times that I'm on the wrong side in the net of a 3-2 game or a 4-2 game. Would I rather that be a 2-1 game or a shutout? Of course. But the fact of the matter is, you look at the scoreboard, right? And I'm using that as an analogy, but you look at the scoreboard and you're like, hey, there's more that I have to do here. I need to get better. And it's no different here when we talk about these relations and how critical they are.